I was just looking over some of the stories throughout the country, and I came across this. This is the price kids pay. School for children with disabilities calls police on its students every other day. And I started reading this, dude, and it's kind of crazy. Um, they have a school in Illinois, right? Illinois. Yeah, Jacksonville, Illinois. On the last street before leaving Jacksonville, there's a dark brick, one-story building that the locals know as the School for Bad Kids. It's actually a tiny public school for children with disabilities. It sits across the street from farmland. It's 2 miles from the Illinois City Police Department, which makes it a short trip when the school calls 911. So, it's close. Administrators at the Garrison School call. This is where it gets crazy, guys. Administrators at the school of Garrison at the Garrison School call the police to report student misbehavior every other school day on average. And because staff members regularly press charges against the children, some as young as 9, officers have arrested students more than 100 times in the last 5 school years. An investigation by the Chicago Tribune and ProPublica found that is an outstanding number given that Garrison, the only school that is part of the Four Rivers Special Education District, has fewer than 65 students in most years. So they barely have any students. They label all these kids with disabilities and stuff as quote unquote bad kids, which is just despicable. And you have these teachers who choose to go work at the school, turning around and pressing charges on these students, some as young as 9. So that's pretty crazy. Those are not good numbers. As it says here, no other school district, not just in Illinois, but in the entire country, has had a higher arrest rate than Four Rivers. The last time data was collected nationwide, that school year, 2017-2018, was more than half of all Garrison students were arrested. Officers typically handcuff students and take them to the police station, where they are fingerprinted, photographed, placed in a holding room. For at least a decade, the local newspaper has included their arrests in its daily police blotter for all to see. That's disgraceful. Even for the paper, dude. Like, these are students. Like kids, not even students. These are kids. The students enrolled each year at Garrison have severe emotional or behavioral disabilities that keep them from succeeding at previous schools. Some have also been diagnosed with autism, ADHD, or other disorders. Many have experienced horrifying trauma, including sexual abuse, the death of parents, and incarceration of family members. So they make it worse by traumatizing these kids even more with police coming to their sanctuary, their school. They're supposed to feel safe at school because their teachers can't handle them. Why don't they hire security at the school or in-house people so they don't have to call the police? Getting arrested for behavior at school is not inevitable for students with such challenges. There are about 60 similar public special education schools across Illinois, but none come anywhere close to Garrison in their number of students they arrest. So what's going on? That leads me to believe that there's something wrong with the school. The school is doing something, or has somebody in charge that they shouldn't have in charge. The ProPublica Tribune investigates, built on hundreds of school reports and police records, as well as dozens of interviews with employees, students, and parents, reveals how a public school intended to be therapeutic options for students with severe emotional disabilities has instead subjected many of them to the justice system. It is just backwards if you are sending kids to a therapeutic day school and then locking them up. Yeah, that is absolutely right. That is not what therapeutic day schools are for. Therapeutic day schools are for, said Jessica Jingfold, an attorney in the special education clinic at Equip for Equality, the state's federally appointed watchdog for people with disabilities. So at least somebody's on it. If the school exists for young people who need support, to think of them as delinquents, it's basically the worst you could do. It's counter to what should be happening. I agree. Because of the difficulties the students face in regulating their emotions, these specialized schools are tasked with recognizing what triggers their behavior, teaching calming strategies, and reinforcing good behavior. But Garrison doesn't even offer students the type of help many traditional schools have. A curriculum known as social emotional learning that is aimed at teaching students how to develop their social skills, manage their emotions, and show empathy towards others. Tracy Fair, director of the Four Rivers Special Education District, said it's only public school in the part of West Central Illinois for students with severe. It doesn't matter if it's the only school on the planet, you still don't treat them like that. There are consequences to their behavior, and their behavior would not be tolerated anywhere else in the community. Yeah, it would. What do you mean? I see people with disabilities all the time out in public that these people do things that they don't understand they're doing and get away with. You know what I mean? Like, they're not held to the same standard because they don't understand everything the same. This is despicable. Fair, who has overseen Four Rivers since... Wait. Is Four Rivers... So the lady that oversees everything is this lady right here, Tracy Fair. She shouldn't be in charge of this, clearly, if this is how she feels. Said Garrison, administrators call police only when students are being physically aggressive or in response to ongoing misbehavior. Oh, so it's not just physically, it's anything. But records detail multiple incidents when staff called police because students were being disobedient, spraying water, punching a desk, or damaging a filing cabinet. Yeah, so no violent things. The students were still not calming down, so the police arrested them, wrote Fair. Hopefully this lady Fair doesn't have any kids, because if so, I'd feel bad for them. This year, the Tribune and ProPublica have been exposing the consequences for students when their schools use police as disciplinaries. The investigation, The Price Kids Pay, uncovered the practice of Illinois schools working with local law enforcement to ticket students for minor misbehaviors. Reporters documented nearly 12,000 tickets in dozens of school districts, and state officials moved quickly to denounce the practice. Oh, wow. They did something right. Their latest investigation further reveals the harm to children when schools, I don't know what that word is, abdicate student discipline to police arrest, or discipline to police. Arrested students miss time in the classroom and get entangled in the justice system. They come to view adults as hostile, and schools as prison-like. They're a place where regularly are confined to classrooms when the school is on restriction because of police presence. U.S. Department of Education officials have reminded educators in recent months that if school officials fail to consider whether a student's behavior is related to their disability, they risk running afoul of federal law, which they probably have already. I bet you they've already been violating this federal law multiple times, and they're still here talking about it. But unlike some of other states, Illinois does not require schools to report students' arrest data to the state or direct its education department to monitor police involvement in school incidents. Legislative efforts to do so have stalled over the past few years. No, they can't show the data or report the data, but they could put these children's names in the local paper, right? In response to questions from reporters about Garrison, Illinois Superintendent of Education Carmen blah said that frequent arrests there were concerning. An Illinois State Board of Education spokesperson said a state team visited the school this month to examine potential violations raised through the papers. The team confirmed an over-reliance on police, and as a result, the state will provide training and other professional development. Spokesman Jackie Matthews said, "It is not illegal to call the police, but there are tactics and strategies to use to keep it from getting to this point." No, but then when we have police that don't know how to do their job, it's now two people that don't know how to do their job, and now the kids are suffering. I'm not going to go through the whole article. Well, I am, but I'm not going to keep it all on here because there's a lot to read. But I want to look more into this, and I want to see if we can get some of these body camera footage from any of these arrests and see how these kids are being treated, because this is crazy.